Okay, boys and girls, today we are going to be taking the drawings that we did last week of our cakes, and we're going to be coloring them in. And there's been some talk about how are we going to color these in, Mrs. Heat Turks? And the thing is that I really want you to look carefully at Wayne Thiebaud's artwork in order to get some clues as to how to color in. I want you to notice that on his paintings, when you see the edges of his drawings, you'll notice that they're almost outlined in a color that almost doesn't make sense. Like on this ice cream holder here, we've got some red here, we have some yellow here, we have some pink here, we have some blue here, dark blue here. Even along the edge of his table here, we have some green, we have orange here. So what we start to see when we look at his artwork is that he outlines things in colors that you wouldn't normally expect. We see some green and some blue. We've got all kinds of colors going on here. Right here, putting some orange along the edge of the tabletop. Or here, we see some green here and some red here along the edge of his plates. So we're going to take kind of a cue from that. The other thing that we are going to look at is the fact that he always seems to blend white in with his colors. And the reason people do that is to do what we call tinting, where he might start with some pink, but then add white to it. He's tinting it to be a lighter color. And by doing that, it kind of pops right off the page. If we look at these birthday cakes here, you can see that he used kind of a pinkish, peachish color, and then he went over it with white to bring out some light here too. Here, he did it blue, and then he tinted it with white. So we're going to be doing the same thing with that today. And then last but not least, when we look at his shadows, we start to notice that he really liked to use blue for his shadows, or to even use a color that you wouldn't quite expect. Here, instead of making a shadow, some people think, oh, shadow should always be black or something. Here, he uses almost like a lavender color. So we're going to be starting off by just taking the cakes that you've done and taking a cue from Wayne Thiebaud and outlining them. So basically, the thing that you should always have in your mind is that we outline, color in, and then tint with white. So the first thing I'm going to do is decide that I'm going to color in this part of the cake. And I really want for you to take one section at a time. So right now I'm addressing the front of the cake, and I've outlined it with green. But guess what? I have no intention of having a green cake. I'm just taking one of those outline colors. Usually he would do green, orange, yellow, blue, just taking some random color. And then I'm going to decide, okay, I'm going to make my cake blue. So what I'll do here is that I'm going to fill in along the lines. Now, some of you had all these grand plans of your designs, but when you try and color around these designs that you've made on here, that's going to drive you nuts. So what I want for you to do is to color over it, and you'll add it later. So we've outlined it, we've colored in, and now we're going to tint with white. And I'm going to take this, the white oil pastels always look disgusting because they pick up all the other colors, but when you use them, they'll be fine. So I'm going to come here and I'm going to blend in some white to tint this blue. And when I do that, you're going to notice that it really starts to pop right off the page. It just looks nice and luscious and yummy and wonderful, just like that. So I could do the same thing over here, but as I mentioned before, if you want to come back and add some details or something, you could come and now add in your swirls. Okay, it's going to be much easier that way, and then you've already got your stuff tinted and you're ready to go. Now, as you'll see here, that when I was coloring, I did the same thing. For the top here, I outlined it in yellow. I filled it in with purple, and then I tinted it with white. I did one section at a time. That is what you are going to be doing today. I'm going to be having a lot of different samples up for you to see. I'm going to continue working here. So if I was going to do this section now, I'm going to outline it first using whatever color I want. Then I'm going to choose the color that I want to use for the top. So in this case, red. I'm going to color in the whole thing. And then the last thing, what am I going to do, my friends? What am I going to do? What am I going to do? What am I going to do? I'm going to tint it using the white. Let me see if I can find a bigger one. So we'll finish coloring this in. I think we're going to have a lot of fun today, but I really do think that taking one section at a time is going to help you. Sometimes trying to do too much at once just kind of leads to a mess. So here, when I bring this in, I'm kind of following the line of the cake because I want it to look like it's round. So I'm just going to bring this around and blend in my white. And then after that, I can add whatever details I wanted to. Okay, get to work.